please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
A crop loan waiver of up to 1 lakh rupees, 1.5 lakh crore rupees for irrigation projects. The BJP has finally released its manifesto for Karnataka a week ahead of elections, and agriculture has got the top billing. The party has also made a slew of promises to women, which include sanitary pads for ₹1, smartphones for women below the poverty line. Releasing the manifesto, BJP State Unit President and Chief Ministerial candidate B.S. Yediyurappa said that the document was based on the vision of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. He also added that the welfare of farmers was the BJP's priority and promised that the party will announce a crop loan waiver of up to 1 lakh rupees in its first cabinet meeting if it comes to power. Joining us now to discuss this further, Amit Malviya, spokesperson of the BJP, Aishwarya Mahadev, spokesperson for the Congress, and Harish Ramaswamy, political analyst. Amit, let me start by asking you, just in terms of the number of pages that your manifesto has, it's longer and more in number than the Congress. Yours in excess of 60 plus, and the Congress was, I think, 44 or something to that effect. But in terms of promises that you make to the people of Karnataka, pretty similar to what the Congress is offering. But that apart, a lot of the promises that you make depend on the support and perhaps the benevolence of the centre. Have you got assurances from the centre that they will support you when you make promises like operationalizing a special coastal economic zone, on being able to bring in more regional connectivity via the Udan scheme, or being able to get in more railway lines through the state of Karnataka? I mean, these are part of your promises that you make in your manifesto, which will require the centre's intervention as well.
Well, Shireen, I think it's very obvious that if we have a government in the center and we have a BJP-ruled government in the state, the synergies are going to be extremely high, and that is what our manifesto also reflects. But I just want to make one quick point. I don't agree with the fact that our manifesto reflects what the Congress is saying as well, because if you see, the thrust of our manifesto is on empowerment. Every scheme is about ensuring that the segments that we are speaking about over a period of time become self-dependent and they start contributing actively to the economy. For example, a fund for women, which is not a support. It is building an ecosystem in which they can grow on their own, and it's an economically viable model to have. Similarly, on the farmer side, there has been a lot of thrust on how to improve agriculture, along with the waiver that we have talked about. So it's very different in spirit from the Congress. There is very little use of the word subsidies, which the Congress has used in...
I'll interrupt you there. I said very similar, because when you talk about empowerment, the Congress manifesto, if I take a look at the Congress manifesto, also talks about exactly the same things. They talk about setting up agricultural zones. They talk about creating agri-corridors. They talk about setting up a fund, whether it is a 1 crore subsidy for startups, which includes a 25 lakh rupee loan, or it is interest-free or low interest rate loans to the MSME sector, to women, etc. So hence my point about the similarities between the promises that are being made by both parties, and there's nothing wrong with that, by the way.
The fact is that the Congress manifesto suffers from so many infirmities. Let me just tell you for instance. They've said that they will make IT sector a $300 billion industry. Now, entire Karnataka's budget is 2 lakh crore, which is 1/10 of $300 billion. I don't know why they are talking about such outrageous number when they did precious little in the last 5 years. They talk about making biotechnology a $50 billion industry in Karnataka, where the overall India market is $11 billion. And if you compare it to the Karnataka overall state budget, it is just 1.6 times of it. So, we have not made outrageous claims like the Congress has made.
All right, Aishwarya Mahadev, you've made outrageous claims, says Amit Malviya in your manifesto. The numbers that you've touted from 30 billion, from 60 billion to 300 billion, that's the kind of revenue potential that you see for the Indian IT sector from the state of Karnataka. Amit Malviya saying that that's not doable. Similar picture for biotechnology. But Outside of the outrageous claims, Aishwarya, let me start by asking you of what you have made of the manifesto.
Shane, let me just clarify. You thought our manifesto was around 40-something pages. That's our concise version. This is our precise manifesto, where what we've done, we've given you what we promised. We said we'll give you a district-wise manifesto, and every single district in Karnataka has had a manifesto. The entire idea of the BJP manifesto is Namma Karnataka ke Namma Vachana, which means our word and our promise. They initially promised 224 manifestos for every assembly constituency, and have come out with this pitiable attempt at a manifesto where half of it is just rhetoric. The bigger ticket that they're talking about is things like Annadasoha, which is the same as our Annabhagya scheme, Negila Yogi, which is the same as our Raita Beluku scheme, Mangala Bhagya is a copy of the same, the loan waiver is something you've taken from us, laptop Yojana is all the same. Your entire manifesto, basically, I think that's why you had a delay, right? Because you saw a manifesto and decided you wanted to pull out things from it. Is a lot of it is a copy of us. But simply at the end of it, BJP should have done one simple thing. Tried to fulfill the promises that remain unfulfilled from Yediyurappa's time, which honestly, when he did come in and speak about it, it did have some merit, or at least try and fulfill what Modi had promised.
Harish, your assessment of what is being offered to the voter of Karnataka, is this old wine in a new bottle? Are these promises dressed up to entice voters? Will it work?
Yeah, so actually, if you see the manifesto, it's quite impressive. It tries to tell you that they're going to do a lot of things which they promise. But as you know, how many people read manifesto is the first question. The second thing is, within the legislature, Public Accounts Committee doesn't actually look into what are the promises that were made and how many things were fulfilled. Now, if you look at the kind of impressions that this manifesto gives you, I don't think it leaves anybody. It turns out as if it's going to touch everybody and tell them that I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Look at pilgrimages, funding for farmers, everything. Now, if this is going to be really realized, I think we'll have a golden Karnataka, golden era.
Well, more from Karnataka now, where the Badami constituency is witnessing a fight of the heavyweights. Here's a ground report that's been filed by our correspondent Archana Shukla.
I have with me two very seasoned local journalists from this place in Badami. I have with me Mr. Advendra Inamdar from Sanyukta Karnataka newspaper, one of the very old newspapers here in Karnataka. And I also have with me Shankar Kudremani from Kannada Prabha. Two newspaper journalists who talk to the voters here locally and understand the pulse of this place. आपको क्या लग रहा है, यहाँ पर फाइट सिर्फ कांग्रेस बीजेपी का है कि यहाँ पर जेडीएस कैंडिडेट भी बहुत स्ट्रांग हैं?
नहीं, ये दोनों हाई प्रोफाइल लीडर यहाँ ठहरने के बाद उनके दोनों के बीच में चल रहा कर कुछ लोग ऐसे बोल रहे हैं। फिलहाल ट्रायंगुलर कंपटीशन इधर चल रहा है।
ट्रायंगुलर कंपटीशन यहाँ पे चल रहा है। शंकर जी, आप हमें ये बताइए, यहाँ पर जब आप वोटर्स से बात करने जाते हैं तो उसमें आपको किसके लिए ज़्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग वो समझ में आता है? कुछ लोग बोलते हैं जब हम लोग मिलते हैं कि श्री रामुलु जीते हैं, कुछ बोलते हैं सिद्धरामैया। जब आप लोगों से मिलने जाते हैं तो आपको क्या समझ में आ रहा है?
मेरा ख्याल से बादामी एक कॉमन सिटी नहीं है, ये हिस्टोरिकल वर्ल्ड इंटरनेशनल सिटी है। यहाँ के सब पूरा देश नहीं, पूरा राज्य बादामी क्षेत्र को देख रहे हैं। इसलिए मेरा हिसाब से दोनों तरफ से टक्कर चल रहा है। इधर कांग्रेस का भी उतना कंपटीशन चल रहा है, उसके साथ साथ बीजेपी का भी चल रहा है। और यहाँ डेवलपमेंट होना चाहिए। कुछ लोग बात कर रहे हैं बादामी एक हिस्टोरिकल प्लेस, डेवलपमेंट होना चाहिए।
बादामी का कास्ट कैलकुलेशन आपको क्या समझ में आ रहा है? आपको लगता है कि कास्ट कैलकुलेशन के हिसाब से यहाँ पे वोट होगा कि डेवलपमेंट के हिसाब से होगा?
ये बादामी एक ही नहीं है, पूरा दुनिया में, अब भारत में ही ये वो कम्युनिटी की बेसिस के ऊपर इलेक्शन अलग बात है। पहला कैंडिडेट फिक्स करने के लिए वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी में कितना कम्युनिटी की वोटर्स है, उसके बाद तय होता कैंडिडेट कौन बनेगा। वैसे ही बादामी भी है।
तो यहाँ पर अभी कैलकुलेशन क्या समझ में आ रहा है?
कैलकुलेशन ये सीएम है सिद्धरामैया है, उनके कम्युनिटी के हालमत कुर्बास 45,000 अबव है अप्रोक्सीमेटली। और बी श्री रामुलु बीजेपी के कैंडिडेट है, उनका वाल्मीकि शेड्यूल एसटी, उनके 30,000 अप्रोक्सीमेट है।
ये जेडीएस के जो कैंडिडेट यहाँ पे खड़े हैं, उनके आने से बीजेपी और कांग्रेस का किस तरह से अभी वो बैठ रहा है?
इधर जेडीएस की हनुमंत माविन मरद के महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका है, क्योंकि वीरशैव लिंगायत 55,000 से भी ज़्यादा वोटर्स बादामी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी में है। उसमें ही एक सब कास्ट है पंचमसाली। वो पंचमसाली कम्युनिटी की कैंडिडेट हनुमंत माविन मरद है। यहाँ के हर इलेक्शन में वो वीरशैव लिंगायत बीजेपी को सपोर्ट करते थे। ये कहने से भी ज़्यादा कांग्रेस के अगेंस्ट वोट करते आ रहे थे। इसलिए आज भी कांग्रेस को वो डर था बीजेपी को सपोर्ट मिलेगा वीरशैव लिंगायत का, लेकिन जेडीएस की कैंडिडेट ठहरने के बाद जरा उनको फायदा हो सकते हैं कांग्रेस के लिए।
सिद्धरामैया और श्रीरामुलु दोनों के लिए ये सेकंड कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी है। इसका कुछ प्रभाव है क्या वोटर्स के मन में कि ये पहला कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी नहीं था, आखिरी दिन में आकर कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी नहीं था, आखिरी दिन में आकर उन्होंने यहाँ पर
है वो फायदा ही जेडीएस उठा रहे हैं। मैं लोकल कैंडिडेट हूँ, मैं रिजिग्नेशन देने का ज़रूरत नहीं है। उन्होंने दोनों आए सो वाले एक लिए जीतने के लिए आए, सिद्धरामैया को हारने के लिए श्रीरामुलु आए, लेकिन मैं वैसा नहीं हूँ। मैं आपके सेवा करने के लिए ठहरा हूँ। यही मांग रखो, वोट मांग रहे हैं जेडीएस कैंडिडेट।
Well, good to get seasoned journalists who have a sense and who have to understand the pulse of a high-profile constituency like Badami give their views on what we could expect and some of the issues and problems ailing that district. Time for us to slip into another break, but up next, a special conversation with author and economist Arun Shourie on what he makes of the crisis in the judiciary. Don't miss that. Welcome back. The Supreme Court's decision of deferring its decision on Justice Joseph's appointment is convenient for the government, according to renowned author and economist Arun Shourie. While speaking with CNBC TV18's Shireen Bhan, he also said that swearing in only Indu Malhotra was a non-Gandhian move. Listen in to Arun Shourie.
Given the fact that yesterday we've seen the decision of the collegium, which has been deferred now on what it intends to do, whether it intends to send back the name to the government or not for a week, what do you make of that? Do you believe that this is an attempt to de-escalate, or do you believe that this is giving in to what the executive wants?
Well, it is obvious that the collegium could not have come to a decision, and the record shows that at least 4 of the judges would have been of one view, that we should send it back. If you look at their letters of the past, statements of Justice Kurian Joseph and others, then therefore it must be that the Chief Justice, I would presume, has taken the view that no, we must give more names if the government wants more names and so on. And that certainly is very convenient for the government. Whatever the motives and reasoning of the Chief Justice, it certainly helps the government.
Do you believe that if the decision is of the collegium to not send back the name to the government as was expected, this is going to deepen the crisis, worsen the crisis?
Yes, it will be a fatal blow to the collegium and to the Supreme Court. If they do not send it back, in fact, they have already delayed it too long. In my view, as I have said earlier, they should not have had an oath-taking ceremony of one judge when they had sent 2 names. That itself was a completely non-Gandhian thing to do.
What is the way out of this now? You know,
the way out is for the judiciary to stand absolutely firm on every little comma. That's the only way.
But do you see that happening?
No, I don't see it happening because of the Chief Justice.
And hence I ask you, what is the way forward?
Judges, pardon?
And hence I ask you, what is the way forward?
The way forward is precisely for the others to keep showing up the steps which are being taken that are helpful to the government. For the other judges to keep showing those up, for disclosing them to the public, and for all of us to be vigilant and to keep pinpointing those steps and opposing those steps.
So you're suggesting that the other judges, the 4 judges, for instance, who held the press conference in January, that they should do more of that now?
Yes, they should put it on record. I would really look forward to the time when we get to know the reasons on account of which this decision has again been deferred.
Always such a pleasure to listen to the intrepid Arun Shourie. Time for our final break here on CNBC TV18's India Business Hour. Up next, an exclusive report on the divide between banks and central government on the issue of stressed assets in the power sector. Details when we return. Hectic efforts are on to save over 40,000 megawatts of power projects from going to the insolvency courts or to liquidation. But bankers and government finance companies, that is PFC and REC, are actually divided over how to go about it. Lata Venkatesh joins in to explain why exactly they are divided and the issues of contention. Lata.
Okay, first let me refresh your memory. In February, the Reserve Bank put out a circular asking banks or telling banks that all stressed loans over 2,000 crore will have to be either resolved in 6 months or taken to the NCLT. Now, the blow falls largely on power projects because about 10,000 megawatts of power doesn't have gas and another 20,000 megawatts doesn't have power purchase agreements. And these are definitely going to the NCLT, but you may not find good buyers in the current state. So bankers are trying to resolve it. There was a meeting in SBI with bankers who own largely, who have exposures to these power projects, and PFC and REC. Now, what the bankers have proposed is that take 14 fully completed projects and then take the sustainable portion of the loan, keep it with the project. The unsustainable portion should be partly written off and partly converted into equity, and 51% of the equity is sold to a good promoter, either a stressed asset fund or another power company. And the banks also could retain a small portion of the equity. The current promoter should be reduced below 25%. And the hope is that they will get some money because of the quality of the plant. The bankers, of course, are hoping that the government could have the NIIF, the National Infrastructure Investment Fund, also probably contribute some money and buy some of the power projects. But they're not expecting the Reserve Bank to change the circular. Now, the PFC, REC and the government have a different point of view. They believe that even if you try to find a promoter, the promoter will take the shares at absolutely basement prices. So they will be selling the plants for a song. So what they should do is all these stressed power plants should be put into a special purpose vehicle, that company will be owned by all the lenders. But it will be run at arm's length. It will have all these power plants which are transferred to this SPV at net book value, not at a loss. And it will be run by some power company which is contracted to run them. And when the situation in the country improves and demand improves and more PPAs are there, at that time, when the economic value of the plant is, when the market value is good, at that time these plants should be sold. But obviously the second plan requires that the RBI does not force the banks to mark all of them as NPA, because in that case it will be a larger loss. The meeting remained inconclusive and we don't know exactly what is going to be the final outcome, but obviously efforts are on.
All right, Lata, many thanks for joining us with those details on that story. Telecom Department has released the draft National Telecom Policy that's aiming at attracting investments worth $100 billion by the year 2020. They also plan to look for a sweet spot to price telecom spectrum. Right, Ashmit Kumar caught up with the Telecom Secretary, Aruna Sundararajan, who is optimistic about the policy.
Is this an over-ambitious figure? Frankly, I don't think so. Because today, the world over, the backbone of infrastructure is actually shifting from the physical to digital. And India has an opportunity to leapfrog, precisely because we do have a deficit of conventional infrastructure. We have said that when we are looking at a pricing policy for spectrum, we need to do two things. First of all, spectrum is a scarce national resource. In the past, we've had only around 62% of spectrum being sold. Now, going forward, we must ensure that all the spectrum is sold, which means that we'll have to get the pricing right. Spectrum, we'll have to look at what is the state of development of a technology, We'll have to look at what is the ecosystem of device readiness. So I think the manner in which we design the auctions and the manner in which we price spectrum, you know, I think that will has a lot of scope for greater efficiency.
All right, with that, we're going to wrap up this edition of India Business Hour. Many thanks for watching. We'll see you Monday, same time. Good night.